Right guys, okay, so this is what we're making then in this lesson. Some balls that fall down with some pegs on a board, and they all fall nicely down here. Yeah. Right, okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So I've got a brand new Inkscape project here, so I'm going to go AX delete, and we're going to have a cube, N to bring up our details. This is going to be, I think, 0.2, 5, yeah, and 10, something like that, okay? It doesn't have to be like that. In fact, let's have something like that, yeah, 0.2, 10, and 10. Let's grab it, and let's move it up so that it's approximately on the floor. It doesn't have to be perfect this time. Let's add some physics, okay, rigid body. This is going to be passive. Let's have a HDRI for now. So an image texture, open. HDRI, Safari Night, something like that. Okay. And this thing, let's give this a material as well, and I'm just going to give it a very simple yellow. Right, okay, so back into solid viewport mode. We need some pegs. Our pegs are just cylinders that we have rotated 90 degrees, not on that axis, but on that axis, on the y-axis. These are going to be about 0.2 centimeters, 0.2 centimeters, and about 0.5 centimeters. Yeah? The peg, we're going to grab, and we're going to move it. Yeah? If it's in the wall a little bit, it doesn't really matter. Yeah? Okay, front view, front view. Let's give this a material while we're here. Use nodes, any sort of simple material, yeah? If you want to use an image for that, you can. Let's make these pegs a little bit more beautiful. Okay, at the moment they're a bit ugly. So into object mode, into edit mode, face select this face, Command B, and I'm just going to roll that back just a little bit. There we go. Yeah, just so it looks a little bit more beautiful. Back into object mode. Let's have a look. Wait, where have you gone? Let's have a look at you from the front. Let's grab it along the y-axis and let's stick it over here for now. Good. Let's Shift D to duplicate. Let's move it up on the z-axis, and then let's move it up on the z-axis, click, and then let's grab it again and move it a little bit along on the y-axis. Good. When we've done that, select both of them using the Shift key, Shift D to duplicate along the y-axis, and something like that. Yeah. It's helpful if this is not a perfect V. Okay, it's helpful if it's not a perfect V. When you've done that, you can Shift R to recreate or to redo. And these last two, I'm just going to get rid of that and get rid of that. Okay, fine. I'm going to select all of my cylinders here using the Shift key. I've got those all selected, and now we are going to copy them up. Shift D, Z, and up, and Shift R to repeat. Yep, there we go. We've got some gaps here. No, that's fine, that's fine. These last cylinders, I see, okay. I want to delete those, but if I do that, I delete my cube as well, so that's not ideal. So I want to shift click twice and then delete those. Okay, so let me do that again. If I select all of these, you'll see that the cube is also selected. It has this orange outline. So I hold down shift, click once, and then I can X and delete, and it deletes that top row. Yeah. Good. Right, now let's have some balls. Add icosphere. Okay, so not UV sphere, icosphere. Let's give this a color. Any sort of simple color that you want. Any sort of style that you want. Let's grab that. Let's move that up. Let's have a look at it from the side. It's far too big. Let's scale it right the way down. And let's grab it and move it on the x-axis, bring it forward a little bit. Yeah. Right, we press play, nothing happens. Nothing happens because it doesn't have any physics at the moment. Okay, so let's add some physics. Physics properties, rigid body. It is active, it is going to move, and it's going to behave like a sphere. Press play. Aha, right. We forgot to add physics to these pegs. Yeah. So let's go up to the first cylinder up here. This is rigid body, it's passive. Okay. Now let's select all of them using the shift button. Okay, so I have one selected, the top one. I use my mouse to go all the way down, hold down shift and click. Now I've got them all selected. And we can see these are orange, but this is yellow. Okay, and this yellow one means that this is the active one. And this is the one that has the physics set. So what we can do now is we can go object, rigid body, copy from active, and now we will see that they all have rigid body set on them. Good. Okay, so if we press play, we should see something that looks a bit better. Good. So far, so good. All right, good. Happy with this, yeah? It's not a perfect V. If the pegs are a perfect V, what happens is they all just fall off the side, yeah? So look at this. This is not a beautiful straight line. And that's important. It allows it to go left and then go right and then go left and then go right. Now, 250 frames is not enough, so I'm going to increase this to 500. I'm going to pinch this so I can see all 500. Now, let's go back. This ball, I'm going to grab it, move it along the... I'm going to grab it, move it along the y-axis, put it over here. Shift D to duplicate. Move that duplication over there, put that down. With it still selected, Shift R, Shift R, Shift R. Yeah, and one more. Now if I press play, they should all fall down, no? Very good. Some of them fall off the side. And the ones that don't fall off the side, alright, so the animation has stopped at 250 because that was the original length of the animation. Now it's 500. We need to tell our render engine that it's now 500. So scene properties, rigid body world, cache. We need to change this end to 500. And we need to rebake that. Go back to frame 1, press play. And that should now continue all the way to frame 500. Okay, good. Good. Hoppa. Now, some fall off the end, and some, when they get down to the bottom, they all fall down the bottom, okay? And that's not ideal. We don't really want that. What we want is this in a kind of case. Yeah, to stop things falling off the side and to catch them when they fall down the bottom. So let's have a case. Our case is going to be a cube. Our cube is going to be similar dimensions to this. So 0.2, 10 and 10. 0.2, 10 and 10. And grab it, move it up, so that it covers almost exactly. Yeah, there we go. Right, now it's too narrow, so we want to increase this x-axis to about 1 meter. Actually, it needs to be about 0.6 meters. Yeah? Now we want to move it forwards. So grab it on the x-axis and move it forwards so that some of it is covering this back plate, but all of the pegs are covered. Yeah? Now when we press play, it happens as normal, we just can't see it happening. We need to change the properties of this. And we can do this here in Object Properties, Viewport Display, change this to Wire. Now we can see. And we don't want this cube to render, so in Visibility, turn off Render. When we've done that, we can add all of this to a collection. Now we're going to need this collection later. So select everything, right click, move to collection, new collection, and we can give this any name. Bits and Pieces is a nice name. Bits and Pieces. Yeah? And that puts everything into a collection. So we've got our balls in one collection, and we've got everything else in a different collection. What that means is we can hide it very easily. Yeah? And it's interesting, we can hide it and press play, and it still looks as if it's there. Right, so now we need to add some physics to this cube. So with the cube that we've added selected, let's go to our physics, rigid body, this is going to be passive. And it's going to behave like a mesh. Yeah? If we press play, they still fall out the side. Yes, some are still falling out the side. And that's because we have an old bake. Okay, so we need to rebake. So here's Scene Properties, delete bake and bake. Nothing happened. Now this is a bug in Blender. You need to change the speed to force it to rebake. There we go. Now, aha. So something does change. Now they just sit on the top of that thing that we've made. So it is acting as a boundary, they're just not falling into it. So we need to fix that. So select it, into edit mode. With our face select the top, face, X, and delete the face. Back into object mode, press play. Okay, so we've got an old bake that we need to get rid of. Change the speed, delete the bake again. Press play, and this time none of them should fall out the side, and they should all be collected down here. Okay, they might get stuck, yes, but they're not going to escape out the side. They even get stuck here. Opa. Okay, good. Looks nice. Right, okay, so what's left to do? Well, what is left to do is to crank up the number of balls. Yeah, so we can select all the balls, Shift D, Z to move them up. There we go, with them still selected. We can now Shift R, Shift R, Shift R. We will probably need to rebake. It might take a little bit longer because we've got a lot of objects now. Okay, let's have a look. Press play. Okay, so there's a bit of chaos at the top. If you wanted to, you could make all of these different colours. Yeah, I'm not going to, I can't be bothered. Okay, there's some stuck here. Now, 500 is not long enough, so I am going to increase this. I'm going to increase this to 800, but because I do that, I need to delete my bake, increase this to 800, and bake again. Okay, looks good. Okay, and when this is done, there's a couple of things left for us to do. We can add our camera, add our light. Actually, we don't need a light because we've got HDRI. Are these going to fall down? Given enough time, these should all fall down. Okay, so they didn't all fall down. Yeah, I fast forwarded to the end. So this is frame 200. So I've got these balls stuck here and they don't look beautiful. Yeah, so I want to fix this. So I've hidden this collection. Yes, this bits and pieces collection. So turn that off and that makes the peg and the board disappear. When that's done, let's go into front view. We can select the balls that haven't fallen down. Select those, hold down shift and select that one. And then these, we can right click, move to collection, new collection, junk. Okay, junk or rubbish or whatever you want. Then, very simply, we can hide those. Then, we turn this back on, we go back, we play, and now we only get the balls that all fall down. Yeah. Da-da-da. There we go, they all fall down. Okay, super. Right, good. What's left to do? Okay, so we get these gaps at the top. That's fine, doesn't matter, because the camera that we're about to set up won't see these gaps. Yeah, so we're not going to worry about that. Okay, so do we have a camera? No, we don't. So let's go ahead and add one. Let's grab this, move this back on the x-axis. There we go. Option G, Option G, Option R resets the camera. I should have done that first. Grab it, move it back on the x-axis. Then I want to rotate it. I want to rotate it something like 90 degrees here. And then I want to rotate it that way, also 90 degrees that way. If we look, okay, of course, I'm getting half of below the floor and half of above the floor because my camera is at ground level. So if I go to a back orthographic view, now I can grab it, move it up on the Z axis. Let's have a look at that. Let's move it down. Okay, so I want it to start there. Yeah. So actually, I'm going to set a keyframe here. So insert, with my camera selected, insert location keyframe. And then let's go to about frame 100. By frame 100, by frame 100, I want it down here, and I want to zoom out just a little bit so we get all those balls there. So I've still got my camera selected. So I insert another keyframe, yeah? And what that will do, the camera will start up there and it should slowly move down. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. And if we look through the camera moves down with the balls, most of the balls. We can change our focal length to 35 so that we get a broader view. That way we follow most of the balls down. Okay, that's fine. It's going a bit too low. Now that I've changed the focal length, I don't want it to go so low, so I'm going to fix that. Let me do that now. So this keyframe, I'm just going to delete that. Grab it, move it on the Z axis. Move it down, but not that far. Yep, there we go. I want it to stop there. Wait. Okay, so I need to go to frame 100, and then I want my camera to finish there. Insert a location keyframe. And now starts there and moves down. Very good. Everything has finished by, okay, everything is finished by frame 2000, yeah? So now we can go ahead and we are finished. We can go ahead and render this into our MOV folder. So that was under output properties. Change this to FFmpeg. Change our encoding to QuickTime. Render and render animation, and we are finished, yeah? Right, very good, guys. When you've done that, don't forget to add it to your iMovie portfolio. And if this video says checkpoint, then you need to upload it to YouTube. Okay. So this is our portfolio that we are making as we go. Yours might look a little bit different to this. I'm doing these out of order. But yes, if this says checkpoint, then don't forget to upload this to YouTube. Very good, guys. Make sure you save this, because this is part 1 of a 2-part video. We're going to come back to this and we're going to make this more beautiful. Okay? Right, see you in the next lesson. Bye-bye.